Hi there, this is Robert from Prepped. This is just a quick message to our incoming students to say I am really excited to be working with you on the SAT this summer. And over the next couple weeks before our program starts, I'm going to be sending you some orientation videos, in addition to this one, that talk about specific strategies that you can use to study SAT really well. And this is really good to get ahead of time, that way when you do arrive here, you can hit the ground running. Some of you guys might be totally new to the SAT, I'm imagining, and it's very possible that you're conceiving of the SAT as a very intimidating test, and I just want to let you know that the SAT does have one major weakness. This might put your mind at ease a little bit. The SAT is a standardized test, so that means every single test has to test the same thing, and so as such, it is very, very predictable. The question types, the content of the passages, even like the answer, the position of the answer within the text, in many cases is to a large extent predictable. And so this summer what we're going to be doing is I'll be illuminating the different concepts and sub-concepts and sub-sub-concepts on the SAT. I get pretty nerdy about that. And I'll be showing you how to target each one of them with very strategic and specific and very rigid step-by-step methods so that you can have the best shot at a top score as possible. So maybe in very broad strokes, what I'll do right now is just talk about the different sections of the tests, and some of you, like I said, might be totally new to the SAT. So we have the reading section first of all, and for the reading section, we'll be doing lessons on the 4 different passage types. Those would be literature and science. There's actually 2 science passages, and history, and then there's also a social science passage. So when you come here to Prepped, on different days we'll be doing one of those sections and doing a big lesson on it, and then doing some very specific practice. We're additionally going to do lessons in question type. So basically there's 11 different question types, and we do dedicated lessons on different days to those specific question types. So for example, inference questions, we'll be doing inference lesson and then a bunch of practice on that. And I have a very deconstructed system of the test. So for inference question, one of the sub-concepts is called extended reasoning. And a sub-concept of extended reasoning is hypotheticals. And so if you're having some trouble with hypothetical questions, I'll be able to throw you like dozens, maybe even hundreds of that specific question type until you get it correct. And hopefully it will not be hundreds, because that would go on a while. But yeah, it's possible, and we can supply you with that much stuff, because this is all I do. Is I only teach SAT, and when I'm not teaching SAT, I am creating materials on SAT. So yeah, happy to do that. And for the reading, we also just boost your general reading speed. I think that's one of the things about reading I like teaching the most, is like how to become a really fast reader. And speed reading is not just a cheap gimmick. Like, it's really a teachable skill. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how to understand 19th century English with all the crazy diction and like the really convoluted syntax and the esoteric references and stuff. Yeah, we'll be covering all that. And then the mental game, how to get into the right kind of mindset on test day. Yeah, we're gonna nail all that stuff down. In terms of the writing section, that's the second section on the test. The writing section, similarly, I have a very deconstructed system. It's probably best to just show you this in person, but I do have a database that I've created with thousands and thousands of questions. So again, whatever specific sub-concept you're having problems with, I can hook you up. I love doing it. I have awesome, like, you press a button, press a macro in Excel, and it automatically populates Word docs. Anyway, I'll show you this when you get here. It's always fun to show. In terms of the essay, we have a pretty strong template system that we use at Prepped, and most of our students get towards a perfect or near perfect score. So if you're at home and you're worrying about the SAT essay, I would just say, like, don't worry about it at all, because I got your back on that. And if you're wondering whether to take it or not, strongly recommend taking it, because we have such a great system to get you to a good score. So yeah, we'll make that decision a little bit later when you do arrive here in Seoul. Vocabulary is another big part of the SAT. So we use my own book. It's called Robert's Guide to the SAT. So basically I've taken all the SAT vocabulary from previous tests and put them all into one book. And because I am so adamantly opposed to like learning vocabulary from A to Z, I've done a couple things. So one of the things is I've clustered the words in synonym groups. So you're learning like related words, maybe 5 or 6 at a time, kind of chunking them in your brain, which is a lot quicker than studying A to Z lists, which is basically the dictionary. And secondly, I've ordered it in terms of frequency. So the most frequent words on the SAT are at the top, and at the bottom are the least frequent. And I also have, thirdly, I have different sections. For example, there's a history section, and that is words specifically to help you beat history passages, and literary words, and science words. So it's worked very well in the past, and I'm sure you will benefit from that this summer. So yeah, looking forward. Some of you already have the book. I know a lot of parents have come to pick up some materials. Other people have already been invited to Quizlet, and I'll make sure that all of you get that invitation to Quizlet and get the materials as soon as possible. So yeah, I'll be emailing you very shortly about that. In terms of just the general schedule, to do all the things that I've just talked about, the reading and the writing and the essay and the vocabulary, that's gonna take a minimum of 4 weeks. So my program is divided into 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, and it's 10 weeks altogether. So some students are here for the full, 8 or 10 weeks. The second semester, nothing will repeat. It's all the same lessons, but we just get deeper and deeper, and you kind of just build on what you've learned the first semester and master it the second semester. Some students will only be here one of the semesters, and that's especially true if you're just kind of beginning the SAT, or you're already really at the top and you just need a final polish. Now, if you're here on day 1, then you'll go, to the end of week 4, and you'll be done. You'll have covered everything. If you're coming week 2, some students are maybe a bit worried, I'm coming a week late, what am I gonna miss? And again, that's the purpose of this video. You're not gonna miss anything, because I've designed the program so if you come in week 2, you'll be here week 2, week 3, week 4, and then week 5 is the same as week 1 with different material, so you're not gonna be missing anything. You're covered, don't worry about that. And so just show up when you can. It's always better to come in on a Monday than a Wednesday, but even if you come in halfway through the week, you won't miss a thing. In terms of daily schedule, the schedule is, so in the morning there's a lesson, and we'll cover all the things that I talked about, and then it's a 4-hour block. Most of the emphasis is usually on reading, just because students need the most practice with reading, typically. And there's an hour of writing and an hour of essay also. And by writing, I mean grammar. And then there's a lunch break from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And then after 2 o'clock is what is called study care. So study care is a way just to monitor your practice. So if you go home, you're probably not gonna have a good place to study and concentrate. So it's basically monitored homework, study care work. And in study care, you'll do things like the grammar test, which is directly a test based on the material from the previous class. Vocabulary test will be there also, a template quiz for the essay, and just general reading and writing practice that we'll do, just section practice. And it will all be monitored by one of my previous students who has graduated from Prepped, graduated from high school, gotten a great SAT score, and is now at a very great American university. So yeah, we have about 4 TAs booked for this summer, and they're always, we have some returning ones too, and they're really great. They're mentors. They answer one-on-one questions. They, whatever you need, the TAs will take care of you. So yeah, the morning class and the afternoon study care, but there's 2 levels. There's a kind of a beginning level of the SAT, and then there's an upper level. For the upper level, it's switched, and the study care is the first thing in the morning, and then classes in the afternoon. And we kind of just flip the 2. And at 6 o'clock, hopefully everything has been done, you've passed all your tests, and then I would strongly encourage you to, go home, enjoy the rest of your night, spend some time with your parents or your friends, And yeah, you're good, because you've been here for 9 hours. You don't want to devote your entire life to SAT. But if you have failed a quiz, you failed a test, or you just want to stick around, we'd ask you to join our aftercare program. So aftercare is from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then 9 o'clock is when we close the doors every day. And you are totally invited any night to stick around, to work one-on-one with the TAs, to come and see me. I'm going to be available at least for most of the summer at nighttime. I've made a good effort to keep my schedule open to address anything that you guys want to talk about at nighttime. There's also a bunch of other students that like to form study groups at nighttime. Our students here at Prepped, we pick them pretty well. We admit students who really want to study. I ask every student who comes here, like, are you in for this? Are you willing to put in the effort? And all of those students have said yes. So I find that students really help push each other to great scores. Sometimes it's even more powerful impact than working with TAs or myself or anybody else really, the peer influence. So yeah, stick around at night and leverage that peer learning effect. And so very often what happens is students will fail a test inevitably through the summer, one of the sections of the tests, and then they'll stick around from 6 o'clock to about 7 o'clock. And by 7 o'clock, I think most students will have filed out. But yeah, like I said, we're open till 9 o'clock, and I'm very happy to be working with all of you as much as possible, especially students who are trying to finish the SAT in October or August. You might want to think about sticking around a little bit later and hanging out with me and just trying to maximize your potential while you're in Korea. Yeah, I guess this is a pretty informal video, but that's pretty much all the things that I will say initially. I guess, where are we located? We are in Apgujeong. We're pretty much like exit 3. We're like a minute or two, 2-minute walk away from exit 3. Although there is some construction happening these days, and so you have to go a different exit. And I will send you, I'll make a map and I'll send it out on a link. And another thing that's great about Apgujeong is that there is like such a great amount of food here, and it's really good quality and pretty cheap at the same time. So I've actually made I don't want to say food blog. That's embarrassing. It's not a food blog. I've made something like a Facebook group that blogs about food in Apgujeong. It's called Apgujeong Eats. You could look it up and I can invite you to that. I'll send a link for that also. On Apgujeong Eats, you will find basically like a photo journal of the different restaurants, and you can kind of like look at the menu of the different restaurants before you come, so you can, I guess, plan the things that you would love to eat when you're here. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome this summer. Don't be worried to come here. I've talked to a couple of students in person, and they're kind of nervous about, oh, there's gonna be a bunch of new students here. But like I said, all the students that are coming are hardworking. They might not be, they might just be starting. They might not know too much about the SAT at the beginning, but I think everyone, yourself included, everyone wants to put in the work, and even if you don't know anybody, it's amazing how very fast and very tight students kind of form groups. And Jinny-sam and I are often visited by large groups of students who come, a couple years down the road, 3 or 4 years. We just had a couple students drop by about a couple weeks ago who were with us 4 years ago, and yeah, they're all still friends. So yeah, we might expect that you're gonna make a lot of new friends while you're here too, and you're gonna learn a lot, and it's gonna be great. So yeah, so I will end this very informal video because I have a class, and I'll just tell you that the next video will be on how to study vocabulary. I think that would be a very pertinent email to send you, email video. How to study vocabulary really well so that the words stick in your head. That is in the pipeline. And also how to do odap note, how to do like review notes, because that is an art. That's an art. You don't want to do too much, you don't want to do too little. So we'll kind of put you in that zone of proximal development, that best kind of area for your future development. Yeah, maybe some others too. Anyway, in the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out via email or Facebook or anything else. And yeah, like I said, I look really forward to working with you guys this summer, and we'll see you soon.